Today we're looking at something I think we can all relate to. Staying informed without, drowning in all the negativity that seems to be everywhere.
Yeah.
We've got some really interesting sources for this one, too.
Yeah, it's kind of a paradox, right?
Yeah.
You want to be aware of what's going on in the world, but it's so easy to get sucked into this, vortex of doom scrolling.
Oh, yeah.
And anxiety.
Totally. And actually, one of the things that really jumped out at me in one of the texts for this deep dive was this idea that, like, constantly focusing on negative information can actually be bad for you. Even if you think that you're, preparing for the future.
Preparing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're just constantly trying to be ready for something bad to happen.
It's almost like we're hardwired to fixate on the negative,
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating.
For sure.
And the thing is, it's not about, like, ignoring problems or, burying your head in the sand.
Right.
It's about recognizing how our brains work and making choices. Yeah.
To counteract that negativity bias.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Like, what can we do to counteract that?
The text had some really practical strategies. One that I thought was interesting was setting time limits for consuming, like, news and social media.
Right.
It's so easy to fall into that pattern.
Oh, yeah.
Of scrolling for hours.
Yeah, and you don't even realize how long you've been doing it.
Exactly. And it takes a toll on us.
Yeah.
Mentally and emotionally.
Right.
Even if you just set a simple boundary, like, I'm only going to spend 15 minutes today reading news. You're reclaiming control over your information.
It's interesting, though, because I've tried things like that. I've tried setting those limits before.
Yeah.
And I still find myself just getting sucked in.
Yeah.
Is there something about how our brains are wired?
There is.
That makes that so hard.
Our brains are actually wired to prioritize negative information.
Oh, wow.
It's like an evolutionary thing.
From way back when we needed to be hyper aware of threats to survive.
Right.
But nowadays, it can just be too much.
Yeah.
With the constant influx of negativity.
Makes sense. So it's not just me being weak-willed.
No.
It's actually like a biological thing.
It's how we're built, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about how much information we take in.
Right.
But it's also about what we're consuming.
Exactly. The text talked about seeking out content that offers solutions.
Okay.
Instead of just focusing on the problems.
So instead of, like, reading headlines that are like, the world is ending.
Yeah.
I should be looking for things that are like, how to make the world a better place.
Exactly. Or how to turn this crisis into an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
Okay, I like that.
There's a lot of research about solutions journalism and the power of focusing on positive actions and outcomes. It can really empower us to make a difference.
I love that.
And feel more hopeful about the future.
So it's not about pretending the problems aren't there.
No.
It's about balancing them out with some hope.
Exactly.
So what else can we do to kind of, like, counteract all the negativity?
The text also talks about filling our minds with things that uplift and inspire us.
Okay.
Like, think nature art music.
Okay.
Maybe even some self-improvement content.
I've definitely noticed that when I spend time in nature, it really has this, like, calming effect on me. But I'm curious about, like, engaging with art, for example.
Yeah.
How does that actually help?
Well, it's about providing our minds with a different kind of input.
Okay.
When we engage with art or music or even nature, we activate different parts of our brain, stimulating creativity, emotional processing, and a sense of awe.
So it's like hitting the reset button on our brains.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
I like that.
And it doesn't have to be solitary activities either.
Right.
The text talks about human connection.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge.
Connecting with other people. Having conversations that remind us of all the good that's out there.
Absolutely shared experiences.
Yeah.
Laughter, genuine connection. Those are powerful antidotes to negativity.
Right.
They help us regain perspective.
Okay, so we've got limiting the negative intake, seeking out positive content, connecting with others.
Yeah.
But what about all the negative emotions that still pop up?
Yeah.
Like, even if you're careful about what you're consuming, there's still a lot to be stressed about.
Absolutely. And the text acknowledges that.
Okay.
It offers a few suggestions for how to cultivate peace of mind.
Okay.
Things like meditation and deep breathing.
I've heard of those, but I've never really tried them.
Yeah.
Like, how do those actually work?
They work by calming our nervous system.
Okay.
Which is often, in a state of overdrive.
Right.
From stress and information overload.
Yeah, for sure.
Meditation, for example, helps us train our attention and develop a greater awareness of our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
So it's like building a muscle, but for your mind.
That's a great way to put it.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, and then deep breathing can actually slow down our heart rate, which sends signals to our brain that it's okay to relax.
Okay.
It's safe.
So it's like all these strategies are kind of working together to like create this more balanced internal state.
Exactly.
Are there any other recommendations?
The text also mentions gratitude journaling.
Okay.
It sounds simple, but writing down things you're grateful for, even small things, can be really powerful in shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right.
I can see how that would help.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like things are so tough that it's hard to even think of things to be grateful for.
It's not about denying the negative.
Okay.
But research shows that focusing on small positives can have a big impact on your mood and well-being. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice gratitude, the easier it gets.
All right, so we've got setting boundaries, seeking positive alternatives, managing our emotions. All this is starting to feel a little less overwhelming.
Good.
But I know there's more. So let's keep diving in.
Okay. You know, kind of building on what we were just talking about with, managing our emotions. The text also talks about being mindful about the information we're consuming. Like, it's not enough to just limit how much negativity we're exposed to. But we also need to be critical thinkers and evaluate the relevance, like what we're taking in.
That's a good point. It's so easy to just get caught up in like the 24/7 news cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And start worrying about things that you have absolutely no control over.
Exactly. And the text talks about asking ourselves, is this information relevant to my life right now? Will worrying about this actually help me? We have to be careful about what we let into our mental space.
It's like we're bombarded with so much information, but a lot of it is just noise. So learning to filter that out seems really important.
It is, and it frees up so much energy when you can do that.
To focus on the things that really matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about setting boundaries, finding positive content, managing our emotions, and being discerning about what information we let in. And now the text takes this a step further. And starts talking about living a life full of vitality. What does that even mean?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. The text emphasizes that it's not just about avoiding negativity. It's about embracing life-affirming actions.
So like
filling your life with things that bring you joy and purpose and connection.
So it's not just about what you're not doing, but what you are doing.
Exactly. It mentions specifically connecting with nature, helping others, and trying new things.
I love all of those. Even a short walk in nature. Like I could just feel my whole mood shifting.
Me too.
But like, what is it about nature that does that to us?
Well, there's a ton of research showing that spending time in nature can lower stress hormones, reduce anxiety and depression, boost your immune system.
Really?
Yeah. It's like we're hardwired to respond positively to the natural world.
It's like a reset button for our nervous systems.
I like that.
And what about helping others?
Yeah, whenever I do something kind for someone, I get this incredible sense of purpose.
Me too. It's like shifting the focus away from yourself. Does the text talk about that?
It does. It says that even small acts of kindness make a huge difference, not just for the person you're helping, but for yourself too.
Interesting.
It's like tapping into our desire to connect and contribute to something bigger than ourselves.
So we're wired for connection
yeah,
and compassion.
And those feelings are really powerful antidotes to the negativity and isolation that we see so much of today.
So we've got nature helping others. What about trying new things?
That's about fostering curiosity.
Okay.
Playfulness growth.
Right.
Trying new things, whether it's learning a skill or traveling somewhere new, even just trying a new recipe can help us break out of our routine.
Right. And like bring some excitement back into our lives.
Exactly.
I feel like that's something that happens as we get older.
Yeah.
Just kind of get stuck in our ways.
It's easy to do.
Yeah. But trying new things can help us stay young.
It can. That sense of adventure can be a really powerful antidote to all the fear and negativity that we see in the news.
But it's not just about distracting ourselves from
that.
It's about actively cultivating a mindset of openness, curiosity, and growth.
I like that. And all of these things, connecting with nature, helping others, trying new things, it all contributes to the sense of purpose.
And meaning, which can be really grounding.
It can.
Especially when it feels like everything is so chaotic.
Exactly.
This is all making so much sense.
Good.
We've covered a lot.
We have.
As we kind of move toward wrapping up, is there like one overarching theme or insight that ties everything together?
You know, I think the most powerful message here is that we have the power to choose how we engage with the world.
Okay.
We don't have to just passively consume negativity.
Right.
We can actively create a more balanced and fulfilling life by making conscious choices about the information we consume, the experiences we seek out, and how we respond to challenges.
I love that it's so empowering.
It is.
To remember that we have agency, even when things are tough.
Exactly.
You know, one thing that really stood out to me in the text was this idea of shifting our focus from judging good and evil to appreciating the richness of life.
That's a really interesting point. When we get caught up in judging and labeling everything as good or bad, we miss out on the nuances of life.
It's like we're trying to oversimplify something that's inherently complex.
Exactly.
And multifaceted.
The text suggests that instead of constantly evaluating and judging, we should approach life with more curiosity and openness.
Okay.
Appreciating the beauty and the challenges, the joys and the sorrows, all as part of this rich tapestry of existence.
I love that analogy of a tapestry.
Yeah.
It really captures this idea that all these threads, both positive and negative, are coming together to create something beautiful and meaningful.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of focusing on life itself comes in.
Okay.
The text talks about appreciating the simple fact that we are alive.
Right.
That we have this opportunity to experience the world in all its wonder.
It's like that saying, life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself.
I like that.
And in that process of creation, we get to choose how we engage with the world.
Yeah.
How we respond to challenges.
Yeah.
How we cultivate joy and meaning.
Exactly.
So it's not about pretending everything is perfect or, ignoring the bad stuff.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the challenges, but still making the choice to focus on the things that make life good. And this actually reminds me of something else. The text mentioned this idea of taking small steps.
Oh, yeah.
Like we don't have to make these huge changes to start living a better life.
We can start today.
Yeah.
With just one small change.
As we're talking about all of this, it just keeps coming back to this idea of being present. The text talked about that a lot.
It did.
And I'm starting to see why.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's like we're so busy worrying about the future or dwelling on the past that we forget to appreciate what's happening right now.
It's true. And that's where so much of the joy is.
Yeah.
In those simple everyday moments.
Like the taste of your coffee. Or hearing someone laugh. Just feeling the sun on your skin.
Exactly.
It's so easy to miss those things.
If we're not paying attention.
So we have to train ourselves to slow down.
We do.
And really appreciate those little things.
The text calls it cultivating mindfulness.
Okay.
Just a gentle awareness of what's happening in the moment.
And when you can do that, it's so free.
It is.
You can step out of that cycle of worry and negativity.
Yeah.
And just be present with what is.
And that connects back to what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
About shifting our focus from judging to appreciating.
I see what you mean, because when you're truly present, you're not so worried about labeling things as good or bad.
You're just experiencing them.
Exactly.
And allowing life to unfold.
And in that space of non-judgment, there's more peace.
Yeah.
More joy.
Yeah.
More connection.
It's beautiful.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
yeah,
I think it's safe to say this has been more than just some tips and strategies.
I agree.
It's like a whole new way of looking at life.
It's an invitation to a more mindful, balanced, and fulfilling way of being in the world.
I love that. So to our listener out there, as you go about your day to day, we encourage you to try this idea of just being present.
Be present.
Notice the sights, the sounds, the sensations around you.
Yeah.
Take the time to savor those moments, both big and small.
And allow yourself to experience life in all its messy, imperfect glory.
Because that's what it's all about, right?
That's what it's about.
Embracing this human experience.
Yeah.
With all the ups and downs.
All of it.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
We're in this together.
We're all navigating the complexities of life together, seeking out those moments of joy and connection.
Keep exploring.
Yeah.
Keep learning. Keep diving deep. And most importantly, keep living a life that's true to you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, stay curious and stay well.